This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. I wanted to do another video on Taylor Swift. You may have seen the video I did in regards to Zeena LaVey, Anton LaVey's daughter, and the potential for Taylor Swift, really the non-denying, because you can't deny that they don't look almost identical, that they at least don't look related. But there's a theory of cloning that Zeena LaVey has been cloned. And I want to cover that again because a subscriber on the website, Darren James, posted this commercial. I'd never seen it before. And it immediately started getting me thinking about fembots from Austin Powers. Remember the fembots, the women, there were all the robot clones of one another, or all the robots of each other. And I want to talk more about cloning because there are new people here. And they think that cloning is this crazy conspiracy. And they don't even realize that right in front of your face, our own government has acknowledged that they can clone human beings, but for whatever reason, they can't process this, so they think it's some crazy conspiracy for us to say that some of these celebrities are cloned, that some of these people in politics are cloned, that the real versions of them are dead. Now, I get it, because it's hard to produce actual evidence of somebody's dead body to say that this person's dead, but they've cloned them. But if you actually break down the footage, it's very easy to see. So I'll get into that in a second, but Darren James posted this about Taylor Swift, and this actually is out there. It's not trending, but if you look, you'll see people have been posting this about a 1981 commercial where the girl in the commercial looks awfully identical to Taylor Swift as well. So people are saying, is Taylor Swift a time traveler? Now, time travel is another thing that can be covered, of course, with all this stuff going on at CERN, etc. But I will not cover time traveling because I will not go deep into that rabbit hole and make people's heads explode. But what I will do is show you this Taylor Swift commercial that was shared on the website uprisingrevival.com. And maybe we could make the notion that maybe there's a lot, because a lot of these people do look awfully similar. A lot of clones out there of these people. And it seems like, well, if Zeena LaVey would be the prototype of who they would be cloning, the daughter of the founder of the Church of Satan. Now, some of you say, well, he's not really a big prominent name. Well, no, but he is bloodline. Okay, the Church of Satan is a bit of a front, as is the Satanic Temple. Not so deep of a front, but a Hollywood-type front. But again, there is a lot of connection to these people, to Aleister Crowley, to actual occultists. But let's look at Taylor Swift here. Look at this commercial and tell me that this isn't a dead-on doppelganger once again for Taylor Swift in a commercial from 1981.
Glamour Gals collection.
Glamour Gal!
Dolls, party plays,
Fancy Firebirds, the Showplace collector's case.
each sold separately. You can send in proofs of purchase from any 3 Glamour Gals dolls. Jessie, Danny, Lonnie, or Shara.
And any of 3 outfits.
And get Jessie in Fancy Formal free.
Details are on the specially marked packages. Offer expires on March 1st, 1982.
Glamour Gals collection. Jessie and Beautiful Bride. Other dolls and playsets sold separately. New from Kenner.
So yes, we could look at that and we could say, well, they look awfully similar, but some people do look alike. Well, I mean, you could look at a lot of things in that commercial, the teeth, etc., and break it down and see actual comparisons between the two and say, I don't know, I think that maybe Taylor Swift, there's potential here for Taylor Swift to have been cloned, or vice versa, to say that Zeena LaVey was cloned and Taylor Swift is just one of many clones out there of Zeena LaVey, or maybe Zeena herself's a clone. But cloning is real, is the point, is why I'm covering this. People think that it's not. And we can go back to the 80s and 90s, and I'll show you some clips here of them actually coming out and talking about having the ability to clone human beings. So if they have the ability to do this, and we even have a president of the United States who has talked about cloning, why would they not actually follow through with the technology? Do you think that does anyone look at Congress and politicians as trustworthy people? Specifically here, we're talking about Bill Clinton, who even Democrats look at and say he's a weasel and a slimeball. But again, they have the ability. Look for yourself.
Because we all realize we must strive to find the sometimes delicate but always crucial balance between our unending search for knowledge and doing what is safe and morally right. Ever since scientists in Scotland successfully cloned an adult sheep, in February, the President and those of us who work with him, along with the rest of the nation, have grappled with the meaning and significance of the discovery, and the meaning and significance, of course, of the many scientific, safety, ethical, and religious implications presented by the question of the prospective possibility of cloning of human beings. No one, however, has deliberated more on this issue than the men and women who are responsible for the report being delivered today to President Clinton, the members of the National Bioethics Advisory Commission. Over the last 3 months, they worked on an extremely complex issue at an extremely fast pace.
As the Vice President has said, and all of us know, we live in an era of breathtaking scientific discovery. More and more, our future in the world depends upon advances in science and technology, and more, the scientific community will influence the course of the future and the lives that our children will lead in the new century that is upon us. As I said in my commencement address at Morgan State University last month, our scientific explorations must be guided by our commitment to human values, to the good of society, to our basic sense of right and wrong. Nothing makes the necessity of that moral obligation more clear than the troubling possibility that these new animal cloning techniques could be used to create a child. That is why I acted in March to ban the use of federal funds for cloning human beings and to urge the private sector to observe the ban voluntarily while we initiated a national dialogue on the risks and the responsibilities of such a possibility, and why I asked this commission to issue this report. For 3 months, the commission has rigorously explored the scientific, moral, and spiritual dimensions of human cloning. It has talked to leading scientists and religious leaders, to philosophers and families, to patient advocates, and to the general public. From many opinions and beliefs, as Dr. Shapiro said, one unanimous conclusion has emerged. Attempting to clone a human being is unacceptably dangerous to the child and morally unacceptable to our society. I believe strongly that this conclusion reflects a national consensus, and I believe personally that it is the right thing to do. Today, I am sending legislation to the Congress that prohibits anyone in either public or private sectors from using these techniques to create a child. Until the day I sign the legislation into law, the ban on federal funding I declared in March will remain in effect. And once again, I call upon the private sector to refrain voluntarily from using this technology to attempt to clone a human being. I want to make clear that there is nothing inherently immoral or wrong with these new techniques used for proper purposes. In fact, they hold the promise of revolutionary new medical treatments and life-saving cures to diseases like cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and cancer, to better crops and stronger livestock. This legislation, therefore, will not prohibit the use of these techniques to clone DNA in cells, and it will not ban the cloning of animals. What the legislation will do is to reaffirm our most cherished belief about the miracle of human life and the God-given individuality each person possesses. It will ensure that we do not fall prey to the temptation to replicate ourselves at the expense of those beliefs and the lives of innocent children we would produce. Finally, the legislation will ensure that we continue the national dialogue we began 3 months ago and will provide the nation and the Congress another opportunity to take a look at this issue in 5 years. To make sure that all our voices are heard as we explore human cloning, the legislation specifically requires the National Bioethics Advisory Commission to continue its study and report back in 4.5 years. At that time, we will decide how to proceed based on what has been accomplished and agreed upon and debated and discovered in the intervening period. Banning human cloning reflects our humanity. It is the right thing to do. Creating a child through this new method calls into question our most fundamental beliefs. It has the potential to threaten the sacred family bonds at the very core of our ideals and our society. At its worst, it could lead to misguided and malevolent attempts to select certain traits, even to create certain kinds of children, to make our children objects rather than cherished individuals. We are still a long way from understanding all the implications of the present discoveries, but it is our moral obligation to confront these issues as they arise, and to act now to prevent abuse. Today, I hope other countries will see what we are doing and do the same, and I pledge to work with them to enforce similar bans around the world that reflect these values. Once again, let me say a heartfelt thank you on behalf of our entire nation to the National Bioethics Advisory Commission for the remarkable work you have done and the work you have agreed to continue doing in the coming years.
We are, it seems, on the verge of possibly the most remarkable scientific breakthrough in human history, and the most controversial too. Within months, some scientists say they will have cloned a human baby. What was once thought impossible now seems unstoppable. In America, tiny human life forms are already being cloned for medical research. So is it only a matter of time before scientists take the final step? Now, you may greet this with awe or horror, but imagine a world where death could be cheated, where a lost child could be recreated, where children could recreate their dead parents. This week, Liz Hayes has been in America talking with the people determined to make history.
We are a part of history. It's forever. It will be like Adam and Eve. It's the first human being created through human cloning.
His name is Rael, and he heads a wealthy, well-organised religious sect whose faith is science, and whose ambition is to use existing technology to clone a human being. When do you anticipate we will see the first cloned human being?
We plan to have it ready to show the baby between 12 to 24 months.
In a matter of months, science fiction may become science fact. A world where we no longer create new babies, but recreate old ones, over and over again.
It's huge. It will change everything in our society. It's not only the scientific aspect of creating life, but also the political, religious belief, sociology, everything is. We are entering a new world which is completely different. But there is no reason
A better world?
A much better world.
Rael is the leader of the French-Canadian-based Raelian movement, which believes that aliens created all life on Earth by cloning themselves.
They came on the Earth, built big laboratories, and inside these laboratories, through DNA and cloning, they did create all life on Earth. And this place is for the encounter between them and human beings.
But don't write off this man or his followers as just another loony sect. Just because their beliefs are a little off the planet doesn't mean they can't do what they say they're going to do. It's precisely because the Raelians are not constrained by the conventional ethics of science and society that they might just be the ones to pull it off.
I was speaking about cloning from 27 years ago. It's a long time. When I was talking in my public speech 27 years ago about we will soon clone human being, everybody was laughing. Then came Dolly the sheep, and now nobody is laughing anymore. Everybody is afraid, and we are laughing.
Cloning is not illegal in most states in America, and the Raelian movement has both the money and the scientific expertise.
Some people have been saying this is against the dignity of human being, and I'm saying I'm just doing a baby.
Professor Brigitte Bosselier is a biochemist and a follower of Rael. She runs a private company called Clonaid, where her scientists, she says, will be the first to clone a human. And couples are lining up to pay more than $200,000 for the procedure.
How many people have you got waiting and wanting this
More
program?
than 100. They are a huge number.
More than 100 people wanting
To be cloned, yeah.
to clone themselves?
I would say half and half. Half of them would like to clone themselves because that's the only way to have a baby. The other half are concerned by a dead child.
Is there any aspect to cloning that would make you say, this is not what I would like?
No, except the limitation of the numbers. If somebody very rich come and say, I want 100 clones of me, I think this is not acceptable.
Was there ever a time when you thought, I'm not sure if this is the right thing to do?
The only concern I have regarding this is, am I doing it right? In terms of science.
Only 4 years ago, we reported on the birth of Dolly, the cloned sheep. Dolly proved how relatively easy cloning is. All you do is this: remove the DNA from an egg, then replace it with DNA from the skin cell of another animal, and implant it into a surrogate mother. The result is an exact duplicate of the animal whose DNA was used. Since Dolly, many animals have been cloned. Now, if the Raelians have their way, it's our turn.
All the philosophical aspects and all the concern that people have, this, I'm very clear with that, because I do believe that I'm not harming anybody with this. And I think this could be very beneficial for humanity.
We support freedom in every field of life. Absolute freedom, with respect of other people, but absolute freedom. But also, very important for us is a respect of freedom of science. There must be absolutely no limit to science.
Should we be taking the Raelians seriously?
I think we should be taking anyone seriously that has scientists who are knowledgeable in this area and the means, the money to be able to do this. Yes.
Pediatrician Dr. Arturo Brito sat on President Bill Clinton's National Bioethics Commission, which looked at the ethical and scientific dilemmas of human cloning. The major problem, he says, is we just don't know how cloned babies will turn out. They may be deformed or stillborn, or may develop significant problems in later life.
There are many things we don't know about what happens with cloning that may make this child, who looks perfectly healthy, have many problems later on down the line. And we're just talking about biological or at the medical level. We're not talking about even at the psychological level. But at the medical level, we don't know what problems can happen, because a clone would have a cell or genes that are actually older than the way a child is produced from a natural process of fertilization.
Nonetheless, in America, scientists are already cloning body parts. This is a human bladder, made of real-life human bladder cells. Even more extraordinary, scientists are already growing human clones. For ethical reasons, this American lab stops their growth at 14 days, just before the microscopic clones develop a spinal cord. But it would be very easy to go one step further and create a human. All scientists have to do is implant an embryonic clone into a woman's womb and let it grow full term. And that's exactly what the Raelians are planning. The first cloned human being, you hope, will be that from a baby who died.
Right. So this baby died about 2 years ago, and they had the chance to preserve the cell before the death, so we were able to get sampling that are useful, and so we hope to have this baby as the first cloned baby.
Professor Bosselier is protecting the identity of the parents involved, but says they are determined to recreate their dead child, whatever the cost.
I think inside of them they want to conceive the child again and go back to zero with that set of genes.
So they want to recreate
They want to have this child back.
But you can't really do that. You can get a baby that looks just like
It will
baby.
looks like, yes.
But you will never actually get the dead child back.
So that's a kind of hypocrisy that many people ask this question, and they say it will never be the same. So what is the problem if it was the same? You know, they cannot say at the same time, you are cloning, it's terrible, it's the same, it's against biodiversity, and at the same time say it will not be the same. So there's no problem.
But the problem is for those people who think they are getting that
It
child.
will be the same. Physically, the hardware, if you like, will be the same.
I don't think anyone can tell you for certain that what looks normal at birth is going to be normal later on. The main concern right now for the Raelians or anyone else are the safety issues. And until those are worked out, there really should be no type of cloning, because what you're going to do are create embryos and fetuses and potentially live children that are going to have major medical problems.
Their concerns the Raelians dismiss, and their cloning attempt is well underway. Apart from the scientific work, they have 50 potential surrogate mothers lined up to bear the first human clone.
We hope to have the first embryo by sometimes in March. It's, since we want to check everything, we will see.
But it's looking close?
It is very close, yeah.
The final hurdle being what? Just perfection?
Yes.
If I were cloned, my clone would be my daughter and my twin sister. And that would be just the first hurdle. It seems the physical concerns are even greater. For example, it took more than 200 attempts to create Dolly, the cloned sheep. And nobody knows how many human embryos it would take to create just one child. The rate of abnormality in animal clones is very, very high. Just about all have been enormous in size, with navels 3 times larger than normal. So, when and if a human clone is born, the problems may just be starting. It's a tough call for a new baby to have to live up to a dead baby's identity.
I'm very confident about that, because if you educate that child, telling him that he's the twin of a dead brother, I don't see any problem.
Are you worried at all about the psychological effect?
There is absolutely no problem with that. It's people want to find problems, so they try to imagine problems.
But those problems could exist. You can't deny that.
It's the same thing happened with Louise Brown, the first test tube baby. People say, oh, this child will be so special, it will be a burden for her, she will be a monster, it will create psychological imbalance. She's perfectly normal and have a beautiful life.
But Louise wasn't there to take the place of a dead child.
No, but she was very special. She's the first test tube baby.
In a very real sense, we are doing away with Mother Nature. Creating children in our own image, our exact image, from cells of those who have already been born. We are manipulating the cycle of life.
I'm not saying I'm totally against this. I'm totally against it right now, at this point in time with what we know. I think we have to start considering what the implications for us as a society, the world society, are when we start progressing in any step, anything we do with science, what the implications are.
I guess it gets down to people believing that we're playing God. But you don't believe in God.
There is no God. There is no God, so we are playing intelligent human being.
Some people think you're mad for doing it.
Yep.
But you're prepared to wear that.
Yes, I am.
So not only do they have the ability to clone animals, they have the ability to clone humans. And what have they done over the years? They've produced so many movies about cloning. Multiplicity, the movie I covered recently with Jamie Foxx that just came out. Jamie Foxx, ironically, is one of the people that most of us debate is actually a clone, because it doesn't even look like the old Jamie Foxx, right? And of course, we know Jamie Foxx had a malfunction, and a lot of times, these people who are cloned seem to have malfunctions. Kanye West, another person rumored to not be the same Kanye West. Britney Spears, rumored to not be, right? And mentally, right, a clone, if you think of a clone or you think of something like even Pet Sematary, right? Coming, it's just a visual of something that's not the same. So they wouldn't really, act the same as the other versions of themselves. So that's why you see a lot of these celebrities who act differently and then differently again and again and again. So why would they make clones of the celebrities? Well, they would make clones because the celebrities hold a lot of influence and power. If something was if they invest all this time and money in building up Britney Spears, they could not allow Britney Spears to leave the earth because they need Britney Spears to be influential over the audience. Any of them. There's power in the influence. They build them up so that people like Taylor Swift can come out and tell you how to live and control your behavior. Because again, it's about behavioral control. So proof of cloning is real. It's just a matter of whether you want to believe it or not. Now, you could take that commercial and say, well, I don't think that that's a Taylor Swift clone. Well, it's certainly very similar, whoever that actress is, to be undetermined because nobody knows the actress's name, whatever name somebody tries to come up with. Yeah, might as well call her or him George Glass, because that's about as truthful as the real name of that actress is going to be, just like the name of Taylor Swift we all know is not a real name. But they get away with that stuff because they tell us it's stage names, right? But cloning is real, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to do a video just showing, some of the stuff out there. I mean, what do you think the president's talking about it because it's make-believe? The president talks about MK Ultra. President Clinton talked about MK Ultra. He's not really a president, but Clinton talked about MK Ultra, right? Then, of course, you can see all the stuff with Kathy O'Brien talking about the Clintons and the rings they were involved in. I'm not talking about wedding rings, but that's stuff for the website only. So let me know what you think of that commercial below. Thanks again to the subscriber over on the website, Darren James, who shared that. I thought it was interesting, got a good kick out of it. I love the stuff people post over there. Hope more people will consider joining the website. I'm doing a complete re-upload and breakdown of all these other things I've done in the past, which is, actually, I'm going through it right now. I have almost up to 10,000 videos that I'm putting up over here. I didn't even realize I had that many, but each year is thousands of videos are produced, multiple videos a day. Sometimes I used to do 3 videos a day. And there's lots of years I've been doing this stuff despite being a new YouTuber. So thanks again, everybody who is here. I appreciate all of you greatly. Hope to see you on the website, uprisingrevival.com. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.